family where my mother used to go to church. She sent me and my brother to a Catholic primary school and a Catholic grammar school. But whilst we had like religious education, we learned about the parables and stuff like that, and we used to go to church on a Sunday. I was an altar boy, but none of it really had any relevance to me. I didn't really believe that God was a real person. All the stuff that I learned there didn't seem to have any application to my life. I wanted to be a musician. I discovered the Beatles when I was 12. I wanted to be a Ringo Starr, and I was more interested in that than God or anything. I didn't see any need for God in my life. My father was a very troubled man. He was an alcoholic. He didn't work. Life was difficult at home, living with his unpredictability and his bouts of extended drinking. We lived a very fearful life, never knowing what you were coming home to, whether he'd had 20 pints at lunchtime and a bottle of whiskey, and how he was going to be with us. That was a very difficult period in my life. But I withdrew into my music and into my schoolwork. I did well at school. Ironically, I kind of say that I don't think I had a bad childhood. I now know there was a lot of damage done in it, but at the time I just got myself into a little world with my Beatles records, learned to play the drums. I went to music college when I was 16, and I pursued my ambition to become a professional musician, and that's what I did. I had my first drink of beer when I was, actually before I was 16. I went into a pub by the school that I went at, and I liked the taste of it. You would have thought, after I'd seen the chaos of my home life, that I would have been stayed well away from alcohol, but I really liked the taste of it. I liked what it made me feel like, and also it was a kind of a musician thing, musicians work hard and drink hard. It was part of the culture, and I was soon into that kind of lifestyle, drinking every day, drinking to get drunk, drinking because I thought it made me play better, drinking because I thought it made me more attractive to girls, drinking because I thought it gave me more confidence, drinking because I thought it turned me into a rock superstar, Of course it had none of those things. What it was doing was it was making me dependent upon it, just to kind of live and function. And I did really well in music. I met a girl that was a professional singer. We travelled the world. We played working men's clubs, we played theatres, we played on some of the most luxurious cruise liners on the world and some of the most luxurious cruise yachts in the world. We did really well, but throughout all of this undercurrent was me just drinking every day and drinking myself unconscious, And at some point in my life, I crossed over the step from where drinking was fun to having to drink to function, to need to do, and it was really controlling my life. It was making me unpredictable in my behaviour. You never knew quite what was going to happen when I was around. One minute I was a nice guy, the next minute I was going nuts. But I thought because I went to work every day and I worked hard that I didn't have a problem, but clearly I did have a problem. Because after being drunk every day for almost 40 years, I developed this thought that I was becoming like my father. And my father killed himself on my 21st birthday, and I thought that was my destiny. And I really thought that when I got to the age of 54, that I would probably have drunk myself to death. So when I got into my 50s, I kind of pooled all of my resources and decided that I was going to go out in a blaze of glory. So it ended up with me divorcing my second wife. We sold the house. I drank all of that. In the space of a couple of years, I drank £250,000, 10 credit cards. I ended up massively in debt, with no job, with nowhere to live. But worse than that, I was losing my sanity and I was losing myself. I didn't recognise myself. I was just completely lost in the streets. I came to York because I thought that I fell in love with a girl and I thought she might be able to save me. And she clearly couldn't, and she clearly had a tough time with me. There is a good ending to that story. But there was a lot worse to come in my life, a lot more darkness, a lot more terror and bewilderment and fear. I was totally out of control in every aspect of my life, particularly with view to excess in every area of my life. I was seeking something that clearly wasn't fulfilling that need, that longing, but I couldn't find it. I just couldn't find any way out, and I got into this really deep well. And as I say, the only way out in the end was to kill myself. That was it. I wanted to escape from this torture and this torment. Drink wasn't working anymore. Nothing was working anymore. And so I kind of got the. I'll never forget. I had about £7,000 left. I booked into a hotel in New York, and I thought I'd just drink myself to death. And I woke up after 3 weeks thinking that I'd been there for 2 or 3 days. Because at this stage I was really bad blackouts. I didn't know where I'd been, what I'd said to people, what my behaviour was. I don't recall of like the police finding me sometimes. I do recall the street angels finding me once and taking me back to my hotel. And I also remember that in the hotel room there was a Gideon's Bible, and it was the most beautiful parchment paper. And I took great solace in this, but still the plan was to destroy myself. So I went out one day, I went round loads of chemists, got loads of tablets, took a load of booze, and I thought, that's it now, escape, peace at last. And I woke up 2 hours later, and I was still here. I wasn't even drunk, I didn't feel sick, but there was a little voice deep inside me that said, there's another solution, there's a better way, Paul. And I really believe in that moment, that's where I heard the voice of God. I really believe he spoke to me. It was a life-changing moment. My life from that moment was transformed. Nobody shared the gospel with me at that point, but I believe that I met with Jesus at that moment. Because all of a sudden, what happened was this thought to destroy myself, this thought that I needed to drink myself to death, this thought that I needed to rely upon excess, this thought that everything in the world was all about me, self-ambition, Paul, me, I, self, me. That thought was kind of removed. All of a sudden, from being hopeless, I had some hope. From having no purpose than other to destroy myself in a blaze of excess, I started to think that there was a plan, there was a purpose in my life, a reason to live. And the further that I got away from that madness, the more I realised that God had a plan for me. And for a year, I spent just like listening for God and reading the Bible and praying. And then something amazing happened. He told me I needed to join a church. I never had any thought about wanting to join a church. And York's a great place to be to try and find a church. I used to go to 5 services on a Sunday, kind of checking them all out. And then I used to go to one called St Michael of Belfry. And they used to have this lunchtime service on a Wednesday. And I'd started reading the Old Testament. I could make head and a tail of it. But there was a couple of preachers there, and they were doing little bite-size of the Old Testament, and it was unravelling it to me. And then one day, I'll never forget this, Roger Simpson was preaching on a passage, and he said, and it was as though he looked me right in the eye. He didn't know me, he knew nothing about me, and he said, sometimes God will go to any God will go to any lengths to get your attention. And I just wept and fell on my knees, and I thought, when I was drunk in the gutter trying to destroy myself, and I thought there was no purpose and no, you got my attention then, God. And my life has been completely transformed. And in 4 years, I've gone from having no hope, no purpose, to living my life for Jesus. A year ago, I was invited to come onto the staff at St Michael of Belfry. I now work as an intercessor at the House of Prayer in New York. I work with various other ministries. I work with Roger Simpson, telling other people that are lost and hopeless that Jesus is always hope. Jesus is the rescuer. Jesus is the one that can set you free from whatever it is that's putting you in chains, whatever that's stopping you from realising the potential of what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to be. It's incredible. And I just want to say that none of this is because of anything I did. This is because of the goodness of God. He rescued me, he saved me, and now he's just transforming my life beyond the wildest of my imagination. And even though there are still problems in life. Just one day with God is better than any of those 40 years when I was riding around on posh cruise ships getting drunk all the time.